this is Miss Andrea with another homeschool vlog. Um, this school year is trying to kill me. Seriously. As I said, this year's trying to kill me. Um, I got the COVID. September 28th was my husband's birthday. On September 29th, he got invited to a Mary J. Blige concert, went with his brother. 2 days later, he couldn't taste his food. And it was already too late for me because he had been cooking my food. Um, so 2 days later, I tested positive for COVID and I was down for 3 weeks. I worked to some degree. I counseled some kids over Zoom. I did a couple of Zoom classes, but I struggled to talk for more than a couple of minutes without coughing. Um, I tested negative, I think, on day 14, and it's been almost a week since that at this point. I basically missed October. Crazy. Um, and I was left with what I like to call a booby prize because I now have asthma, and I didn't have asthma before COVID. I did have some seasonal breathing problems, but I was never diagnosed with asthma. Um, my husband now has hypertension, and my kids have some lingering things because they had COVID the month before we had COVID. And we went out of our way to stay away from them, like as far as staying in a separate house. And we might as well had just exposed ourselves when they were sick, because at this point, in 2 months, the four of us have had COVID. Um, but that's neither here nor there, kind of, except to explain where I've been. Um, it is the end of October, and um, homeschooling is going interesting this year. I have a lot of new students, and they're all super stressed out, and it's kind of a carryover from the whole COVID thing and the whole COVID schooling thing. Kids who just kind of left public school and never went back, and they're floundering a little bit, and they're hard to motivate, and it's hard to get them to do homework. And I guess what I want to say to people right now is, um, if you're homeschooling, if you're an accidental homeschooler, meaning you never really plan to homeschool your kids, but here you are, here's what I need you to understand. Because a lot of people have said, okay, so we're not in public school anymore, so I'm going to find a homeschool program and place them there. And we're going to keep moving forward as if we're in public school. And that's just not how it works. Um, in public school, that's like 40 hours a week, right? I have your kids at most for 8 to 9 hours a week. I can't give the same level of instruction to your kids in 8 hours a week that the public schools give them in 40. What I can do is lay a framework, hit the high points, give them the materials, and give them assignments to go and do at home. The rest of that time at home makes up for what they're not getting in school. Parents, you can't ignore. If you take your kids out of public school and put them into a homeschool program, you can't ignore the homework. You can't check out like you could check out in public school. You have to make sure that they spend an hour per subject per weekday working on that, on those assignments. And it's not even 5 days, it's three. Because if I have your kids for 2 days a week, some kids I have one day a week, some kids I have 2 days a week. If I have your kids for 2 days a week, that's just 3 days that they need to sit at a table, a desk, on the sofa for 4 to 5 hours a day and actually do the work. Um, And you don't have to stand over them and like walk them through each program. You don't have to actively teach them. I've done the instruction. They have to do the practice. And the best way to get them to do the practice is to just be in the room with them, um, work on something on your computer while they're working on theirs. And if they have a question, they will tap you and they will ask you the question, but they need you physically there. Because if you leave the room, they're not doing it. They're just not. So, for everyone who's transitioned from public school to homeschool, please keep in mind that you have to make up for that loss of teacher time. Not the sheer amount of hours that a teacher would spend, but you've got to spend a set amount of time, an hour a day per subject, near your kid, near them, to make sure they've done the work. If you have to work and your kids are old enough to self-monitor, you have to check to make sure they've done it. Because if you don't check to make sure they've done it, they're going to slowly stop doing it. They are. I promise you, they're kids and they don't want to do the work. Okay? Till next time.